Evening, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there. I had some job opportunities that have taken me out of St. Pete and into Miami and Fort Myers, and then it's going to take me up to Savannah. So I just wanted to be able to show you this at least. Um, Hopefully, this will be adequate. Um, the book that I'm presenting is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is a very famous book. It's the oldest book on our list that we had to do, and it's actually sold over 30 million copies. And I actually had heard of the book years before, but I never knew. I always thought that Dale Carnegie was actually related to the Carnegie family. That's the more famous family, but he's actually not. But the book itself is it's broken down into four parts. Part one, fundamental techniques in handling people. Part two, 6 ways to make people like you. Part three, how to win people to your way of thinking. And part four, be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. With every part, he relates principles that characterize the idea he is trying to enlighten the reader to. First, he discusses techniques in handling people. The first principle is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Second, give honest and sincere appreciation. That's something I believe in wholly. Just the fact that a simple compliment goes a long way. And third, arouse in the other person an eager want. Something that's easily done. Next, Carnegie discusses 6 ways to make people like you. The first principle of part 2 is become genuinely interested in other people. So don't be fake, but show actual attentiveness to what they are and who they are. Second, simply smile, and it's very simple, but it's something that goes a long way. It brings people seeing smiling faces make them happy, so it does a lot more than you actually realize. Third, remember people's names. People, put a lot of weight behind their names. It's what they're born with. So they, for the most part, can't change their names, and they're really attached to them. So by remembering them, remembering that name, it goes a long way. Fourth, be a good listener. I pride myself in my listening skills, especially in social interactions, and it does go a long way to actively listen and to understand what they're saying and not just waiting to talk, but actually listening to what they have to say. And part of that was also encourage others to talk about themselves. So again, good listening. Fifth, talk in terms of the other person's interests. And lastly, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. I mean, most of the stuff, if you do sincerely, will have an effect on other people in your lives. Moving on, he writes about how to win people to your way of thinking. First, he discusses a principle involving the best way to win an argument, which is to avoid it. And that's, it's a lot of the advice given in this book is very simple, but it goes a long way because it has truths that have been throughout the centuries that have gone a long way for people and have worked. Second, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. Next, if you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. So don't waste time. Just do it as soon as you can. Fourthly, begin in a friendly way, positive, and being just a good opening there. Fifth, get the other person saying yes immediately. Don't have them saying no. Try to avoid that as much as possible. So have them getting in the mindset of yes, so that they're thinking of other things to do. And then sixth, let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Another thing, stuff will come out that you would be surprised if you didn't allow the talking, and you just need to basically most of the time stand out of the way and let them talk, because you will probably get what you want by just letting them do the talking. Seventh, let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Eighth, try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Ninth, be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. 10th, appeal to the nobler motives. 11th, dramatize your ideas. 12th, throw down a challenge. The last part of the book discusses being a leader, specifically how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. The first principle is begin with praise and honest appreciation. Second, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Third, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Fourth, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. That's a big one. Fifth, let the other person save face. Sixth, praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Seventh, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Eighth, use encouragement and make the fault seem easy to correct. Ninth, make the other person happy about doing the things you suggest. And that's all of the principles that he has characterized in this book. Some of the takeaways I have from this: I greatly appreciate the anecdotes that involved Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR. There was a couple with Ben Franklin and some other famous individuals and famous generals in the Civil War. It gave great weight to the lessons being taught. Regardless of the age of the anecdote, they're still relevant to the people in the 21st century. The lessons were simple but effective. Mainly, be a nice and courteous person. Try to use positive remarks and avoid criticism. I would recommend this book to anyone, as these lessons are helpful to people of all industries. And the quote that I really liked the most out of this was, "Always make the other person feel important." And I feel, as someone that worked in the hospitality service industry as a valet and a bellman, it was something I always tried to do. I tried to listen to what they had to say. I tried to be, always have good manners, talk politely, and praise the person as much as I could. Specifically, there was a individual, a goalie for a hockey team that stayed at the hotel I was working at. He had just played remarkably well in an all-star game the day before, and all I said was, "Man, I really liked your highlights from the game that you just played. It was awesome. You did a great job." And I grabbed his bag and brought it up to the front desk, and he handed me a $20. And it was a simple task, but he really not just appreciated what I did for him working there, doing that, lifting that bag, because he could easily have done it, but he appreciated me knowing something about himself. And I took out of my way to find out information about him, and I usually did that a lot with being a bellman or valet. But it's a great book, and if you definitely, it's useful to anyone in any industry, like I said, and especially business dealings, because the dealing with people is what some of us all will have to deal with in our lives. There's not jobs where you're just all isolated at a desk. For the most part, we have to deal with people that we work with. We have to deal with people, customers. So this is definitely a good book to have in your repertoire. Thank you for listening.